So today I'm going to walk through and give you a real view into Active Offense, AI-powered vulnerability risk analysis. So how can we leverage the power of AI, driven from this platform and continuous approach, to actually understand of all of our vulnerabilities what are truly exploitable? So again, it starts with attack surface, continuously discovering and monitoring your external attack surface. And I'll walk you through this process in the product live, integrating my scanned vulnerabilities. I have tons and tons of vulnerabilities that have been scanned, and they kind of range in really critical to low importance. I'm not really sure from the results whether it's truly exploitable or not. I may have some information from my vuln management platform that says there's some risk there. It's on a KEV list. It's being talked about in a local online forum. So I'll have some indications of risk level. But then to be able to add that exploit and vulnerability intelligence into the mix, and then have Sara Triage autonomously attempt to validate the exploitability of those vulnerabilities. That's that key step, right? Now we're going from these thousands and thousands of vulnerabilities to hopefully a smaller subset, right? We're looking for the signal and the noise here, and having the agent autonomously do that to validate that something that is exploitable is super powerful. So now I can get a shorter list that I can act on. And then I can, when Sara Triage does confirm it, because it's built into the platform, you have direct access to humans to validate. You can push those exploitable vulnerabilities into the right processes and take the right action. So that's just kind of gives you a sense of when you take Agentic AI and you fuse it with humans in a platform, you can actually start to build a solution that kind of helps you get ahead a little bit, which, in today's world, I know is easier said than done. So let's quickly transition over to the demo, and I'll show it to you in action. All right, so here's the demo. And like we talked about in the previous diagram, really everything starts with a view of your attack surface. And so this is the asset view in the Synack platform. And this is where you would initiate a discovery. So this is the configuration view. Once I've initiated it, I can run it manually, or I can set it up to run continuously. So I'll show you to you in process. So what I want to do is create a seed group, and I can come here and name the group. I can apply rule-based access control to this specific set of discovered assets. I can define what I want to discover. I could start with a domain, an FQDN, a CIDR block, etc. In this case, I'll start with a CIDR block, and I can enable this to auto-confirm the asset. So I want to bring it right in. I want to confirm it's mine and get it into a spot where I can act on it quickly. So let's go ahead and run the discovery. Now, this came back really fast. We did this for the demo purpose. Your results won't come back this fast. Depending on the scope that you've entered in your discovery seed, it can take several minutes to come back. So now I can come here and I can view the discovered assets. I can even do it here. I can come up here and select the asset list. So I'll do that. And what you see here is the assets that have been discovered that were part of that CIDR block. And you can see there's additional information. This is the analytics that's been added to the discovery data as it comes in, trying to make it more actionable for you. So you can see we've looked for open ports and we know what provider, in this case GCP, et cetera, it came from. So I have my assets in that I want to run Active Offense against. Now what I want to do is go up to my settings, and now I'm going to configure a vulnerability source. So I can scroll down. In this case, I want to connect to Tenable. So I want to leverage my Tenable scan results to run Sara against. So I can come here and enter the required information. I can select which vulnerabilities I want to import, critical, high, medium, low, etc. If you have tags associated with those, the Tenable results, you can filter on those tags. I can enable both a daily import or a one-time import. And in this case, I'll just run a one-time import. So I ran that import again for the purposes of the demo. It came back quickly. And let's go back in and look at our vulnerabilities. So we're dropping here into the vulnerability view, which is a standard view in the Synack platform. This is the verified exploitability vulnerability view, really are interested in seeing. And we don't see anything here yet, but also if you were running standard pen tests from the Synack platform and you had exploitable vulnerabilities, you'd see these in this view as well. So again, we're starting to fuse and bring together the results of our human-led testing with the emerging agent-led testing that we're going to do as well. So in this case, I want to come up to my scanner findings, and what I see here is the list of vulnerabilities that have been imported for the assets that have been discovered. So you see that correlation exists, the source is Tenable, and the current status is not triaged. So I can click on any one of these vulnerabilities and get more information on that vulnerability. So in this case, I'll look at this PHP remote control, remote code execution vulnerability, and you can see the status, what it is, what threat intel exists on it, and other information. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to submit this for triage. And I'm doing this manually just to show you all the steps. There will be capabilities to automate all of this, so you don't have to click through each vulnerability, but I just want to show you the flow. So I'm going to submit this for triage. And you can see now the status up here, the heads up status for this specific vulnerability moved into Sara review. So the Sara Agentic AI, a triage capability, is reviewing this vulnerability to see if it's exploitable or not. So let's look back at the findings, and you can see here this specific vulnerability. We're in agent review now. There are some additional views into this. I can look at clusters. So one of the things that we'll do is we'll cluster CVEs. So this specific CVE is associated with, 3 assets out there. So I can also come here and select this cluster and submit it for triage. And again, it's pushed that vulnerability out to Sara to verify the 3 instances of that vulnerability. Then I can look at the clusters. So again, the idea here is that we can toggle between different views to kind of give you more actionable ways to engage this. So we can look at kernel, or maybe I'm concerned about OpenSSL. So we can offer those views. So let's go back to our unique vulnerabilities views, and you can see some of the statuses have changed. So now we've got that PHP vulnerability we submitted as exploitable. We've got one that's in Synack review. So I can go into this specific vulnerability, and here you'll see some proof of work information on this vulnerability. So what did the agent do? What did it find? What was its assessment of the risk and the impact and the conclusion and the recommendations? So what we want to offer is not just this vulnerability is exploitable, but evidence that you can use to understand what the agent did to start to assess, that human assessment, do you care about it or not? How urgent is it for you? So we can go back to the vulnerability list. I just want to highlight across the top, here's just a general view of the status of all the vulnerabilities. So you can see we have 365. We have 346 are not triaged. We have 15 that are ineligible for triage. So one of the things we believe is important here is we have guardrails around exactly what Sara does. And in this case, maybe there are some vulnerabilities that are outside of the defined rules of engagement. For example, denial of service. You may have a couple denial of service vulnerabilities that you probably don't want Sara to go assess and introduce a denial of service challenge for you in the infrastructure. So you'll see those things ineligible for triage. Agent review. Once we go through an agent review process, then it goes through a Synack review process. So the Synack team will review that as well and provide that first level of kind of human assessment. And then that can optionally go out to our testers to take additional action. And you can see here, I have one that's exploitable, and I can click on that and kind of just zero in on the exploitable. So let's now click through this exploitable. Let's go back to the verified exploitable vulnerabilities. And so now you see here where we started, I have this exploitable vulnerability in the list, and I can click through that and get detailed information on the vulnerability. Oftentimes in our industry, when we have the results of a pen test come back, the information isn't always helpful to a software developer to develop a patch. We want to really change that here, so we offer very detailed views into the vulnerability. So what's its impact? What's its location? What was the HTTP request? What was the steps to reproduce? What was the recommended fix, etc.? So we're really trying to provide much more actionable information to your teams that actually have to remediate this vulnerability. Then we can go in and look at the workflow, and maybe we want to transition this to a closed fix status because we've deployed a patch and we've remediated that vulnerability. I can select that, and then I can push it out for verification out to a human. so I can submit that verification request or that patch request. It will go out to a human that will confirm that you successfully remediated that vulnerability. So that's, a nutshell of what I wanted to show you, the process of going from discovery, importing my vulnerabilities, and running through the Sara process to verify exploitability, and then push it out to a human if necessary. So hopefully this was helpful for you today. Feel free to follow up, and we'll be available to answer any of your questions. Thank you.